Hello Virgo, hi, this is Marta with Universal Power Tarot, and these messages we bring you today are supposed to encourage, elevate, and empower you guys. Hi, hello, I know it's been a minute. That's the way it is. I keep saying it. It is what it is. All right, we're going to have a look into your energies today, particularly what you're working on, and what the higher view of this is and the purpose on like the wider sense of why you're doing it. And I also heard for you finding new ways of doing things. So that could be applicable to some of you here for sure. And I was also feeling, to make some space for something, possibly decluttering, getting your life in order, getting routines in order, getting, tweaking your habits if you have some. If you don't have some, maybe putting some in place, that sort of a thing. That is very prominent right now. What are they working on? This one, no. This one, yes. Okay. What's the higher purpose of this? This one? Yeah. Okay. And this one, yeah. Alignment. So you have the Three of Swords, the Five of Swords, and Judgment. I feel there's a lot happening in your mental space at this time, meaning thoughts. And I noticed this myself. There's a lot of thoughts that want to come in, but if you view your thoughts as clouds that are just passing by and you don't take them too seriously because they are there, the sun's always shining no matter what, like that's on top of it, like that's it. And if you can just manage to get to that point in terms of your thoughts, not to believe your thoughts so much anymore, but really to rely on your inner feelings way more and on your routines and habits, that can change a whole lot here for you, I want to say. Because you're starting out, what you're currently working on seems to be some sort of a heartbreak. So either that is new, or it's something new that has been triggered by something old, or it is something that's just from your past and that could come up and rise up currently. Again, I want to say, don't give it too much thought. Don't allow your thoughts to drive you crazy. Keep grounded, stay grounded. Look at what this is, because then your feelings will become less overwhelming here, Virgo, and way more going towards the direction of acceptance, okay? And what I said about the clouds earlier, we sometimes have times where there's tons of clouds, and then there's other times where there's almost no clouds. That's kind of like our thought patterns as well. It just fluctuates, it changes, but they can tell us a whole lot of untruth, right? And so it's just a story that keeps repeating itself. The moment you wake up, it might start to tell you stuff. So if you had a morning routine, let's say, then that could prevent that perfectly, because you're just like, no, I'm not listening to this right now. I have stuff to do. And then you're going into other things, let's say meditation, breathwork, yoga, whatever it is for you. Journaling, gratitude journaling, fantastic in the morning. And those sorts of practices, thank you. Oh, yeah. Those sorts of practices, and also not to go too fast during this time is kind of like the message, because I was reminded by this very crystal here, the clear quartz, of the feminine component. So not to rush so much, but just to, take it easy. That healing has been in the making for many years, that you're overdue for here, or that you're currently going through. And it'll heal. Like, it'll heal in its own time. You don't need to rush through this. It has its own timing, like all in divine timing. And it might help you to put like a clear quartz on your heart, matter of fact, to help relieve some of those energies. Because to some of you, there could be indeed harsher energies that are coming up at this time, or have already come up. Yeah. What are you working on? What purpose does this serve? What purpose does this serve is the Five of Swords here. Again, we have the mental thing going on massively here. I'm getting with this strongly, Rome wasn't built in one day. So take your time with this again, and with the mental patterns that are currently arising. I'm strongly getting that for you, that there's a lot of mental, almost like hyperactivity. And again, to step away from this, Virgo, might help you a whole lot to not believe your thoughts so much, and to really They're clouds. Let them pass. Let them be. You know, you're here on earth. You're right here. You're doing your things. Sometimes when it gets overwhelming, you can just step out of it and be like, no, no more. And you do other things that kind of distract from that energy so that you can come back to it later and work on it some more. So that could be very beneficial too for, you know, for a day or two when you're just feeling overwhelmed by it all. Let those energies pass a bit. Because I also noticed there's a high influx of light that is currently coming into me. It felt like I had so much light over the course of the past 2 or 3 days that I almost felt like I was exploding with light inside, with love, and, you know, seeing everything with divine eyes. It's incredible when this happens. And I also know after phases like this of like, wow, amazing, you usually go through a period where there's shadow being shown. The reason being the light that's entering your body, 555 change, it is changing the structure of your cells, of your DNA, and it illuminates things that were previously hidden from you. So it shows you something, it brings something to the surface, okay? So that's what is happening, okay? So don't think you're going up, 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 and then you're going down a little bit, like into a ditch and being asked to look at things. That is quite normal, okay? And let that be part of everything. It's part of learning to step away from duality and learning to become the observer more and more and more here, Virgo, because that is part of, you know, the purpose why this is happening to you right now, or for you rather, I should say. It's happening for you. So that you can climb that mountain once more. But the more mountains we climb, I feel, we can either have the experience of bitterness, not again, like, why am I not healing? Which is not true, because you are very much healing. Or you can step into, oh, okay, it's just like part of it. And that reframing in your mind is doing a whole lot for you. I love this. This feels so much better too. Like, you should try it. Like, at home you shouldn't do anything. You can't try it if you want to, Virgo. It brings you immediately to this other understanding of that things are good, you know, things are all right. It doesn't matter if you're going through this right now, in that sense of, it doesn't matter if you have like the happiest time of your life or the worst time in your life. It's serving its purpose just alike. Like, those are experiences that need to be had, that want to be had. And this immediately also takes me to the teacher position here. You might already be a teacher in some capacity and form. And that doesn't have to be literal. You don't have to be an actual teacher. But just by your presence, you're teaching people a whole lot, I want to say. And this is also true if we're stepping away from duality, when we realize, for example, a person passing on is not the end of the world. Yes, it comes with tremendous amounts of grief sometimes, especially if that person was very dear to us, of course. Like, we go through like really hard patches, right? And they're part of the whole. And then there's the other side that might still be communicating with us, and they want to tell us they're very much okay. They're very much like, they're happy, they're amazing, right? So there are the two sides that can sometimes be hard to put together. But if we manage, it's almost what they're showing me now is like the infinity symbol is emerging out of this. So it's like the two parts that are just part of our human experience, okay? What's the higher view? Judgment. It feels like this is interesting, because what I'm getting here with this is meditating, you know, the higher view of things, to tap yourself into that very viewpoint of your higher self, of your guides. Yes. Of your guides, my sweethearts, to really understand and see that the higher purpose of things, and you become that vessel, okay? You become that informant, if you will, of the divine that lets other people know there's a different component to this. It's not just the suffering that we go through. It very much is, oh my God, my heart is opening up with that so much. It's the higher light too. It's the higher view of things too. And there's a soul contract that I'm strongly picking up here for you, Virgo, in terms of if we're talking about a person that has passed on, that very time, that was a soul contract that was meant to be happening, okay? And condolences, of course, for this. And it's so funny, because it immediately took me out of that the moment I said the condolences piece, because that's so human. And it can be a celebration also, because it doesn't stop there. Okay, it does not stop there. It takes you and the other person to this other place, or has the potential to anyways for you. But the moment we're tapping more into the human side of things and forget about this other side, that's when it becomes a very one-sided type of a situation that can indeed cause a lot more grief and suffering than might be necessary. And I'm not saying here, I need to make this very clear, to bury your feelings and to not feel what you're feeling. That's really, really important. It's part of it. It's part to move through things, right? And there comes a point where expectation, where we're almost expected to grieve from the outside world, and that can interfere with your feeling of the higher purpose of things and with the higher view, where things are all right and they're really good. And it might be hard for some people to understand and to grasp that. But since we were talking about mastery and teachers here, that would be part of mastery, to really stay in those states when you're in those states, when you're in the state of happiness despite of what is occurring. And that goes for any situation, not just for if someone passed on in your life, 1111. Then stay in those states. Don't let people, situations, circumstances take you out of them just because they think it's otherwise. And I'm getting throat here too, so something throat, you may be speaking on that even. Oh, cool, that's really cool. And now I'm getting my palms, and this crystal is getting really warm here, because that's when you're back into alignment with yourself. And that is an amazing thing to do. Or if you're just in this happy state and all of a sudden a person comes along and tells you, oh, you know what? Actually, you're not really happy, you need X, Y, Z. And then you're just like, oh, really? And that might send you for a loop there for a moment, where it's just like you were in such a happy state and that other person came along that is not in those happy states, but thinks, oh, you know what, you need this. And you're just like, no, actually not. But it may throw you for a little bit of a loop here until you're back in your center and you're just like, no, actually, I don't need that. Or I don't need to feel that grief. I don't need to need a whole lot of money just because you say that's what potentially makes you happy, even though I can see it doesn't. And then, coming back to yourself and being like, no, I'm actually really happy and content where I am. And so this is what this is. And it's a practice, okay? It's a practice here, Virgo, that is for sure. I love it. I really love it, because it brings you back into alignment with yourself. It's about accepting your shadow, accepting your emotions so that they don't run away with you. All right, my dear Virgo, we'll take this over to Patreon if you're interested, where I'll inquire more about what you can do to help heal your beautiful heart, okay? And then additional advice from Spirit, possible channeled messages. That's what we'll have over there. We'll already be placing the clear quartz here on the Five of Swords, so I'm curious what would come through. Link is down below, my sweethearts. I'm sending you so much love, light, and shadow. And thank you for being here. And I'll see you next time. We're over on Patreon. Bye.